about introducing myself. That's the easiest.
That'd be good. That'd be good. Okay, then you're comfortable yourself. Everybody will enjoy themselves.
Okay, hi everyone. Thank you for coming on tonight, or this morning, however early it is for you. It's tonight for me. My name is Lisa Murray. I, along with my two siblings, are the Queensland stockist in Australia. And we, of course, send things Australia-wide. We don't just help Queensland. And I wanted to talk to you about water tonight because, okay, so my background is not science. I might tell you what I'm not first, hey? I'm not a scientist, but I did do a quantum biology course earlier in the year because the more I got into looking at what the wands are and how they work and what the water does, the more curious I got about, well, how, really, how does it all work in the body? And so I did a quantum biology course, so forgive me if I can't answer your extreme science questions. I probably won't be able to, but I'll do my best. And I really just wanted to explore with you the power of the water, because so often we focus on wanting the body and we're very obsessed, and that's a good thing, right? Don't get me wrong. But I think we leave out the intensity of what the water is actually doing, and I've heard some people at various times go, oh, I don't bother with the water. And I've heard other people who are like, no wand, no water, right? Or sorry, no water, no wand, get around. And so I wanted to talk about tonight why we want to play with the water, why the water is important. And so this is an interesting journey for me because the water journey for me probably started before I knew about the wands, in actual fact. And it just kept coming into my awareness that water was really important, and that if we're going to get through this phase in history in good ways, then we need to really take notice of the water because it's very powerful, very alchemical. And as Coach Wong said, we are made of water. So let's maybe move on. I'll give you a little more of my personal bio at the end, but I just thought for now, I'd rather get in and talk about the water because that's why we're here. So I believe we are in what I would call a water renaissance. So if you go back to the very, very early times on this planet, they knew the power of water, okay? And they treated water as sacred. They looked after it. They really, it was literally, they knew that we were water in some way, they knew, and they treated it like it was very important, which it is. And then as history has gone on, we have ended up in this space where most of what we have access to is what we would call bulk water. So this is the water that comes out of your tap, H2O, right? The thing you learn about at school in science. And it has a positive charge. The thing is, our body actually needs water with a negative charge to work really well. And what happens with that bulk water is that because it's had so much treatment, let's just call it treatment for now, we'll go into that a little bit more as we go along. What happens is the molecules are literally too big to enter your cells. And so there is, I believe, a dehydration epidemic on the planet where literally there are just so many people walking around dehydrated, and they may well be drinking their 8 glasses of water a day, but they're still dehydrated. And we're going to talk about why that is. Now, many of you will know that the wand makes the water coherent, or it structures it. Depends, different people call this different things. The field of quantum biology, I think, is still young enough that people are still finding the language for how they want to actually talk about this. But if we talk about structured water, it actually is H3O2, which means it has a lot more hydrogen in it. And hydrogen is the magic in the water, okay? It's the thing that actually helps us get better, or if we don't have enough of it, actually slows down our healing. So when you have this structured water, it gives form and function and strength to your fascia, to the proteins in your body, to your mitochondria, and a whole lot of other things. So this is really important to actually understand that all water is not equal, basically. And I'm going to talk now a little bit about water as an alchemist, because these are some of the things that over my research into water, I've discovered that I found really fascinating. So first of all, water becomes blood 5 minutes after it enters your body, okay? 5 minutes. So if you Sorry, I'm just checking the chat and then I realize that that's going to be really distracting if I do that. I won't do that again. So if you think about this, that water is becoming blood that quickly, you want to put good quality water in your body because, you know, good quality water is going to become good quality blood, basically. Now, blood naturally maintains the pH in your body at about 7.35 to 7.45. What's pH? It's the amount of hydrogen in your blood or in water, as the case may be. So hydrogen is becoming a key here. And what happens is when we don't have enough hydrogen, we end up dehydrated. And that causes the molecular breakdown, which causes inflammation. Now, what's the number one thing that the wands support? The change in inflammation. So you can start to see why water is really key to how the wands are working. I've talked to so many people, you know, we go and do all the different events, mind, body, spirit, and all those things. And people would come and say, oh, you know, I bought a wand off you last year, but well, it hasn't really done much. And I say, how often are you using it? And it's usually like once every couple of weeks. And then I'm like, okay, are you using the wanded water? Oh, no, I forgot about that. And when I explain to them how it works, it's just a whole different thing. Okay, so if it's not working for you, these are a couple of the things that you might want to play with. Now, water has been used to treat illness since recorded history began. So before we had, I'm going to call it a medical industry, right? Water's been used before that. You know, if you look at a lot of the hot springs and things like that, and you know, in Bath, the thermal springs, that's what I'm looking for. Those waters have been used to treat the body. And of course, sound affects water as well. So if you put sound through water and then drink that water, you're also going to create some magic in the body. Okay, more water as alchemist. So you think about when you like close your fist and you're putting all that muscle contraction there. If you are hydrated, the strength in that will be 300 times what it would be without being hydrated. Okay, so that's what that first piece means there when you add the water to the fascia. So drinking water has an alchemical activation in our fascia, in our muscles. Of course, water defies gravity. It makes its way up tree trunks all the way to the top and into spaces that nothing else can enter. You know, if you ever think that water is soft, think of how it wears away a rock, you know, and this is where it has a power within our bodies as well. You might think, oh, it's just water, but what can it do in our bodies? Now, I want to tell you about a method for testing structured water. I learned this just last week, so I haven't done it yet. I'm going to put that caveat on it, but it was a high school science teacher that told me this. And what she said is get one glass of tap water, 1 glass of your structured water, okay? And then you want to fill them to the absolute brim and then get like a water dropper. And of course, in each one, so for the tap water, you need to use the tap water with the dropper. And what you do is you keep dropping the water, just a drop at a time, a drop at a time, a drop at a time. And it should make a little bit of a dome, okay? Until it spills over. You basically keep adding drops until it spills over. And then you do the same for the structured water, adding, of course, structured water. And what happens is it should build a much bigger dome, okay? The tap water probably won't build a very big dome at all. The structured water should actually have quite a bit of curvature on it. And what this is showing you is that it's got enough structure to hold together. So give that a go, see how it works for you. I will do that one soon. I just haven't had a chance yet since I found out about it. All right. So here's a few other interesting things. Memory is stored in the hydrogen bonds in the body. So as you structure your water and drink your structured water, it can invoke a release of the trauma that is stored in the water in your cells. And like a lot of people say that trauma and emotion, which is energy and motion, is stored in your fascia. Okay. So when you start to drink water, there is some potential that that trauma is going to start getting released. And of course, as the trauma is released, then the body becomes more well, right? So interestingly enough, I know that Coach Wong said that, you know, your body is like 3/4 water. In truth, it is actually 99% water molecules. And there is a scientist called Dr. Gerald Pollack, and I've written a list of people that I might refer to at the end, so you can just take a screenshot and go and research them all if you would like to. And he discovered a thing called the fourth phase of water, also known as the easy water. And this is basically, so you have like ice, you have water, you have steam, and then you have this, which is like a liquid crystal or almost like a plasma, okay? And so what happens is when you're using the wand on your body, you are structuring this water that's already in your cells, going everywhere, to function correctly, okay? So cellular hydration reverses biological aging and disease. And I want to put a caveat on this one. To really get your body to work well, you also need correct light. So that means seeing the sunrise. Now, I know a lot of you are going to be like, oh my God, Lisa, no, 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 no. I thought that too, but I have to tell you that my sleep has improved so much since I just get up and watch, go out in the light, in the sun. Even if the sun is not up, I go out in the light that comes at sunrise. You know, our ancestors knew this, and that it's just that we've come a long way away from what is natural for our bodies. So I believe you need correct light. So that sunrise, sunset, and a little bit of sunlight during the day. It also means a lot less blue light at night. Now, I probably should have my blue light glasses on tonight, but I don't know where they are. They're not in front of me at the moment. So you don't want to have blue light at night because that actually upsets your circadian rhythms. You also need grounding. You need to put your bare feet on the earth. Okay. And of course, we know that the iTerra bios do help with grounding, but still, I'm going to say still, if you can put your bare feet on the earth, first up in the morning, 10 minutes during the day, 3 lots of 10 minutes, and you've got the grounding that will absolutely make the entire electrical circuits in your body work a lot better. Really cool, huh? Now, of course, you need Wi-Fi protection and you need positive energy. Have you ever noticed that when you hang around someone who's a real negative Nelly, that you just feel tired? Like you're like, oh my gosh, I just can't wait to get away from that person. That is because, in essence, all of that negativity is having an effect on your cellular electrical function. Okay. Now, we've already talked about hydration not necessarily being 8 glasses of water a day because all water is not equal, right? So that literally means that you need to drink, like I probably wouldn't even have 4 or 5 glasses of water unless I'm wanting a lot, in which case I'll have more, either wanting other people or wanting myself. But generally speaking, if I'm using really good, like quality spring water with like wanting it, structuring it, then I don't need nearly so much water. Okay, so these are the things that we need to look at. Now, who knows about water pollution? I would want to bet that all of you have some idea about this, but maybe not realizing the extent of it. So the reason that you don't want to drink tap water and that you do want to find a good quality water, and I'll talk more about the good quality water soon, is that our water has basically been poisoned. So there's chemtrails, there's plastics, there's all your PFOS and PFOS and PFOA, which is like, you know, the stuff that comes off when you use a Teflon pan. Of course, there's all the big pharma drugs. Now, what happens is people ingest those and then they pee them out. And then, of course, what happens is they go into the waterways. You have industrial runoff, you have farming runoff, you have fluoride, lead, arsenic in the pipes. Like all of these things are in the water pipes that deliver water to your home. Aluminium, and of course, there's lots of other heavy metals that get into the water supplies. I was really horrified this week to discover that Australian tap water, like America put their limit at about 70 parts per million or something. I can't remember the exact numbers, but anyway, so say America had theirs at 70 parts per million, and America is not known really for, or the USA is not known for really, you know, putting the most healthy limits on things, let's put it that way. Australia's is like 20 times worse. Like it's just so far beyond the allowable limits that it's just horrifying. So I also know that there's some European countries that literally treat their sewage water for household and farming use, like over and over. They treat it and treat it and treat it. They might recycle the water up to 7 or 11 times. And so if you even think that the water you've got is good to drink and that you could use it to grow your organic vegetables, you may find that unless they really, you know, I don't know how they can get the pharma drugs out of the water, for example. So you might just want to think about where your water comes from, and wherever area you live, ask your local council, how is my water treated? You know, here I live in Noosa Shire, Noosa, which is a beach. on the eastern seaboard of Australia, very nice place. And we have people who are actively working with our council to stop them fluoridating the water, because it's known that fluoride is a poison, right? And when you fluoridate the water, you are affecting, for example, your pineal gland, which is your intuition. So there's all these things, you know. So the more research you do, the more you get to understand why you maybe don't want to drink tap water. You know, and I've had so many people, like at events and things, say to me, what's wrong with tap water? As if to say I'm being a water snob. And I'm like, well, if you knew all this, and if you knew the effect all these things had on the body, you would not want to drink it. Okay. Now, of course, disposable plastic water bottles, you know, buying bottled water basically sounds great. And be aware that they will leach chemicals into the water. Those plastic bottles are not that great. Especially if you leave them in the sun or the hot car, something like that. So you might want to also think about getting your own water bottle and then taking your filtered water with you. A, it's better for the earth, and B, it's way better for your body. So as far as the water pollution goes, all I'm going to say is do your research. There's so much going on that side of it. Yeah, just there's so much going on, and it's really good if you can find a way. Now, I want to show you something. Some of you will have heard of Veda Austin. She is just like my hero, I think, at the moment. It's in terms of water. She has this process where she freezes water for about 30 seconds, and she shows through the freezing process that she has, the water shows the patterning of whatever it is she's putting to it. Now, in this particular set of images, she's demonstrating what we've just talked about. So basically, there's a very coherent structure you'll see in like the spring water, the rainwater. And so what she does to get a hydroglyph, she does these tests 50 or more times with the same thing to actually then go, okay, that is the pattern for spring water. That is the pattern for tap water. Like, she makes it so that there is no, it's a scientific method, basically. So when you look at all of these different ones, which one is the most coherent? Which is the one you would prefer to have in your body? Okay. And now she hasn't done structured water, and I don't know enough about her process to be able to do that yet, but it's one of the things I'm going to learn this year, because I think it's really interesting that we can test and like visibly see something in this way. So all of this is to say that water quality matters, that living water, spring water is living water, okay, because it's moving, all right? And if you want to find local spring water, findaspring.com is about the best I've found. Now, it works really great in some areas and not so great in other areas. Like, you know, for us on the Sunshine Coast, it shows spring water right where I am at Karoi Mountain. But of course, it's a commercial enterprise. So you can't, you know, take your glass bottles and go and fill up at the spring. And of course, if you're filling up directly at a spring, you would want to check, you know, what's above that spring? How high up are you? And how good is the water? You might want to get it tested at some point before you actually drink it. That said, I usually just ask my body, because there are places on the Sunshine Coast that you can go and you can drink water that's really fresh, but not necessarily coming directly out of the earth. I haven't found the head of the spring yet. So now we're going to put these two things together. You've got this good quality water you're putting in the body. You are water. So how you talk to yourself is how you're talking to the water in your body. And we're going to talk about that more. Because if you think about this, your water, if you look at this image, these images here, you can see that water has a consciousness. It has an awareness of itself. Okay. And so it's the garbage in, garbage out principle. So the better you do at giving yourself the love, the compassion, the joy, then the better the water is going to be in your body, the better it's going to work. So many of you will know about Dr. Masaru Emoto. He was a Japanese scientist, and he was his work is what Veda originally started hers on. And she really sort of took his work and then really expanded it into whole other levels, because a lot of people criticized him for saying, you know, he only did those experiments once. It wasn't very scientific. She has taken it a long way. So that's why I think she's really doing a great job. And how he described how water works is, and I just love this quote, I think it's so beautiful. He says, in the process of falling to the earth, seeping into the ground, and then emerging, water obtains information from various minerals and becomes wise. Water records information, and we could see that in those images, right? Water records information, and while circulating throughout the earth, distributes that information. And this water is sent from the universe, is full of the information of life. And you know, trees can talk to each other all over the world. I've always been fascinated by this. I actually had a group for years, and it's still on Facebook. We just don't do much with it anymore, where we talked about personal conversations with the earth, where, you know, trees would give us information. And trees are quite incredible, and they do it through the water in the air, through the water, through the mycelium, all sorts of different ways. But water is a key conduit to this whole process. And, you know, Veda Austin has really looked a lot at the spiritual and sort of cosmic aspects of water, maybe. And she's literally like, water is a reflection of the divine in you. And I do believe this to be true, because as we treat water is how we're treating ourselves. And when you look at collectively on the planet, how we're treating water, it's not with a lot of honor and respect. So one of the things we can all do is start to treat the water within ourselves with honor and respect, because as we do that, that creates a wave, in essence. And if you know the story of the 100th monkey syndrome, where basically researchers, I think they showed monkeys how to wash clothes or eat bananas or do something. I can't remember what the thing was they showed them to do on one island. They showed them how to do it on one island. And when it got to a certain sort of critical mass, all of the monkeys on all of the other islands started doing it without knowing the situation. It must have been something more natural than washing clothes, but you know what I mean. Yeah, and so this is the same thing. As we honor the water within us, then water will begin to be honored in the external world. So I want to show you this from Veda Austin. I'm going to show you a few things from her because her work is just extraordinary. This is water treated with scalar energy. What do the wands have? Scalar energy, okay, as one of their things. And she says that in this particular image here, there are 3 different hieroglyphs that she can see. One is about creation, one is about the lungs, and the other is about the tree of life. Now, think about what scalar energy is, okay? It's this energy that expands possibilities. And so it's really quite incredible to look at that and go, you see how structured and how coherent and cohesive that image is, okay? Now, then it gets even more exciting. So water holds memory. So what she did was that little tiny apple seed that you see on the left, she didn't actually show the water the apple. She took one seed from the apple that you see on the right, and she put that one seed in the water, and she did it using her method that she does to freeze. And you can learn about that on her website if you want to go and do it. It's I think you have to pay to learn, and it's really very interesting. And if you go onto her Instagram, you will discover the most extraordinary things. So basically, that seed designed an apple, if you look at the middle top image. And then what happened is she let that water melt, refroze it 3 days later, or a day later, and then refroze it 3 days later. And you can see that that water retained that imprint. So what does that mean for us? That means that when we're structuring the water, it's retaining the imprint of that structure. Isn't that amazing? And I know people say it, but here is a demonstration of how it works. So if you have people who don't believe, then this is maybe one of the things you can show them. Because, and I mean, it would be really interesting to do it like a month later and 6 months later. I do want to say one thing about this though, is that water can be imprinted by anything. So for example, when we have water, like the wandered water at events like Mind, Body, Spirit, and there's a lot of people going past with, let's just call it all kinds of energies, very diverse set of energies. It's not all, you know, peace, love, and mung beans at Mind, Body, Spirit, let me tell you. And so we restructure the water probably every hour to 2 hours, because we know that the water is picking up potentially all the stuff around, and we don't necessarily want that. We want it to be as clear as possible. So this is a good thing to think about, you know, if you've got your water in a place where maybe there's a negative person, or, you know, it's maybe near something that might be putting a frequency through it that you would not want. So you might just look at it and go, okay, sometimes you need to restructure your water a little more often. All right, what do we got next? Oh, this one's fun. So Veda has also done a lot of experiments where she has just given water a word and then asked, like done the freezing process. Now you will see here that you can see the Excalibur sword. Very, she said it had started to melt a little bit. It was a hot day, but you can very clearly see an imprint of a sword there when she gave it Excalibur. So what we can sense from that is that water is intelligent, okay? Because also when Veda asked the water, do you know my name? It literally froze. The hieroglyph that was frozen was VA, which is her initials. Literally, it put VA into the water. Now, there is in this slides another thing. I just, will I? Yes, I'm going to actually just go out of this share and go in. I want to show you something because it's fascinating. Let me just find it. It. So if I go into share screen, just watch this. It's very, very interesting. So I think we've seen all of that now. Let me go back to my slides. Okay, so you can see from that it's quite incredible what the difference is in terms of our intention towards water. So now I want to talk about water as a catalyst for transformation, because really that's why we're here, right? So wand your water before you drink it as part of your fresh food once it's in your body. And of course, you can also wand your wine, wand your juice, wand whatever, but know that water is probably the purest application in terms of what you're putting in your body. And I also want you to be aware that our Care wands amplify intention. So if you are wanding mindlessly, if you are thinking about that awful conversation you had with your auntie yesterday, or you're thinking about how mad you are at your boss because they did something you didn't like, or whatever it might be, if you are thinking about that while you are wanding, you are amplifying that energy in your reality. So I deeply invite you to wand mindfully. Wand from the point, and this is both the water and your body, okay? And if you are wanding clients, same deal. Ask them to think about something that they desire to create with their body or with their life. And you can usually use it for anything. You can wand for your well-being. You can wand to be more wise and aware, you know, and more intuitive. You can wand for wealth. Literally, whatever it is you would like to wand for, you can. But what I want to say is that amplification process. Now, I haven't talked very much about energy on this. I wanted to keep it a little bit more mainstream. But let me just say that when I first got a wand, I had it one day a week because my upline very kindly lent us one because there were no wands available in Australia at that point, back a couple of years ago. It was very difficult to get one. And so what I did was I put out on Facebook and I invited people to come and have trial sessions just to try it out. And of course, because of my background with energy healing, energy clearing, energy everything, I got a lot of healers coming to see me. And of course, they have different skills. And some of them could see the energetics of what was going on. And one person could literally see that what they had been talking about was amplified much, much, much bigger out into the world. So if you want to create something really cool, wand it, amplify it as you speak it, okay? So that is something that you can all experiment with. It's quite interesting. I think it's very important, though, to know that this is not wishing anybody bad, wishing anyone ill will of any kind, because if you amplify that kind of energy, it's only going to come back to you. So please do not do that. You will create a life that you don't want to have. All right. So here's an interesting thing. Very recent research shows that water that has been treated with intention increased the growth in human stem cells. Can you imagine that? So literally, of course, we know the wands will work. If you work the wands on the spine, they will activate stem cell growth and production. But imagine if you can amplify that with the intention. And we already know that our conditioning changes our biology. You know, there's many studies and, you know, many, like Joe Dispenza, I think, is a good one example of that, where, you know, many stories of healing where you change the conditioning, change the intention, and the biology then follows suit, because water is responsive. We've just seen that, okay, in everything that we're showing here. So illness actually shows us where we're not being true to ourselves, where really we can have that same honor and respect with ourselves that we might wish the world would treat us with. So your intentions activate your health. Our self-talk is really powerful. Whether we're wanting or not, it is still powerful. And of course, what we say near water is important. As I said before, keep your water clean. All right, what else have we got here? All right, so I love to play, all right? And this is the more energetic part. So you can invite water to play with you. And I love to ask water questions so that allows it to respond via its highest consciousness. You know how before we were talking about how it weaves its way through the earth and the rocks and the minerals and all the things, and eventually, you know, it comes out at a spring. Well, at that point, it's what we call living water, and it has its own consciousness. So we can start to ask it questions. Now, if you're quite intuitive or psychic, you'll probably get an answer quite quickly to these questions. If that's maybe not been your thing, just observe what information comes to you. So you can ask things like, well, what do I need to change to be more hydrated? Because it's not going to be the same for all of us, okay? You could ask water, well, can you help me let go of anger? You know, and it may then, you might just naturally find yourself wanting a different part of your body, or you might come across some information which goes, okay, well, you know, anger is held in the liver. Maybe I need to do that liver protocol, etc., etc. Or you can ask a very direct question like, can you assist in purifying my liver or my kidneys or whatever it might be? Can you assist in healing this wound? You know, can you gently, and I'd always use the word gently in relation to detox, right? Because we all know that the wands can get a bit of a detox reaction going. Can you gently clear my detox pathways? And of course, if you're looking for better quality water, can you show me where to get the best drinking water for me? Because what happens is when we start asking water these questions from a place of honor and respect and curiosity, not from a demanding, needy, I want this, but from a pure heart, basically from the space of a pure heart. When you start asking water for this, it will do its best to bring you that awareness. Now, it might not come directly from water. It can come from many different places. You know, you might overhear a conversation. You might come across a book. You know, for me, often answers come in books. Like I'll have been really curious about something, and then all of a sudden there's a book. I went to our local street library on the weekend, and literally I got 5 books that were answers to questions I'd been playing with in the world. Not all about water, but just, it was so interesting to me that literally, you know, in a country lane, basically, the answers to my questions were available. So this is something just to play with. And you can ask any question, you know, as long as it's not personal to someone else. It's not appropriate to ask a question about someone else. But of course, unless you have their permission and you're a therapist, basically. Yeah, so there you go. Now, water affirmations. Now, we all know that, you know, of the experiments people have done with putting the word love or putting the word gratitude on their water. And I do actually usually have, like I have a big, like 10-liter water jar that I want my water in. And I generally have some written affirmations sitting under that as these are the things I'm working on in my life right now. And so you can make these up. What I do want to say to you is only use positive language. Don't, right? So don't say, my body doesn't have cancer anymore, okay? Because that's actually, the water doesn't hear the don't. but or doesn't. It doesn't hear the negative. It just literally goes to, oh, my body has cancer. Okay, right? So you don't, so I'll cancel that. So cancel that. So you want to actually put it into the positive. So something like, I flow through life with ease, grace, beauty, and joy. My cellular health is improving every day in every way. Because when water hears that, it goes, oh yeah, right, I know what I've got to do. And it starts to work with you rather than working against you. Now that is both the water you're drinking and of course the water that's already in your body as blood. So you can play with all of these. My body always functions from its perfect original design. You know, I heard this beautiful interview with Dr. Zach Bush this morning, and because he's a doctor and he's been at the birth of a lot of babies, and he said that every now and then there is a baby born and it's still in the amniotic sac. And he said that in there, it has not yet been affected by all of the projections of the world. And he said the babies that come out like that, and he said they're very rare. He said it's quite incredible. When they finally sort of, you know, become open, they have this incredible spaciousness, maybe consciousness about them. And so we have to know that we originally were that imprint of the divine. Maybe that would be a way of saying it. We were that originally, and we can be that again. And all we need to do is to begin to ask and to begin to request that our body take us to that space. Now, I'm not talking that means you die, okay? I'm talking about the purification of your body. And so you know, your skin is your biggest detox organ. So maybe it's my skin is clear and glowing and functioning perfectly. You know, and of course, there's the thing about energy. So I have plenty of energy. I detox with ease because, you know, if there's a lot of toxicity in the body, you won't have a lot of energy. It's just how it works. So, and of course, you can always eat your water in fruit and things as well. All right, what else have we got here? Okay, so the lymph protocol. Now, I know that Mugi has done another interview or another conversation about the lymph protocol, so I'm not going to go into it in detail. I just want to say that the 10-point protocol is for supporting the detoxification and drainage of old and dead cells. And so lymph needs movement to do its job. So if you sit still all day, your lymph is going to get stagnant. But if you move, you know, if you get whatever movement you can in, or if you use your wand to move the fluid in your fascia, you know, that's going to allow your lymph to do its job. And if you have stagnant lymph, that's when other health issues start to arise. So it's a really important protocol. I always say to people that they need to do it for at least 2 weeks, twice a day, before they do anything else, because you want your detox and your drainage pathways working correctly. If they're not working correctly and you start wanding, then that's when you get, let's just call them the Herx reactions, things like that, where, you know, you start getting headaches and all kinds of other things because in essence, your body can't get rid of the toxins that need to get out. Now, I've mentioned sunlight briefly earlier about getting up, you know, for the sunrise. I just want to say that, you know, sunlight powers the electrical circuits and it activates your body's batteries. So if you can't get outside, again, use your wand because it mimics 1/40th of sunlight. So it's giving you a bit of that oomph that you need for your electrical circuits to work. I would always say nature is best, but you know, we're lucky to have wands that also do magical things. Okay, here we go. So we have many things we can also do with the water. We can add all kinds of things to them. So you can add fruit, you can add herbs. You know, lemon water will enhance your immune system, improve your digestion, your skin. Ginger water will decrease bloating, decrease nausea, help you with headaches. Mint water is really great detox support. It improves the digestion and skin. And of course, you can mix up these things, you know. You can do some research on this. They're just a couple of ideas to get you started. But whatever you've got, fresh out of the garden and fresh off the windowsill, whatever you can, it's a good thing to add things to your water. Your wanted water, of course. And of course, then there's the whole thing about supplements. And, you know, like I do know that fulvic acid, minerals, magnesium, good quality salt, all of those things, maybe not all at once, but using all of those things with your wanted water activates that water further and assists your body further. And, you know, a good naturopath can tell you what you need in terms of those kinds of things. Or you could do a little bit of muscle testing, or, you know, just literally ask your body, yes or no, do you want this? Our bodies are really smart and they will tell us. You know, my body, like, it just tells, it's very clear what it wants and what it doesn't want. And I think, you know, I could have a whole conversation about listening to your body. And I probably am going to do a podcast about that at some point soon. But what the thing about listening to your body is that, you know, when I go to a craniosacral therapy session, my craniosacral guy can literally tell of every single fluid flow in my body, which ones are working correctly and which ones are not. And I am going to add that at the times when I've been wanting specific meridians, he could notice the difference. So we know that it works because he perceives it from a different space than what we do, right? But when you want the body, oh, sorry, when you listen to the body, let me get the thing right. What's happening is that you are then moving towards a co-creation with your body rather than making your body the enemy. And I think that's really, really important because, you know, we've been taught that when our body isn't working how it's supposed to, that the body must be the enemy. But actually, it's not. It's doing its best under the circumstances that we have given it, okay, in the environment that we are living in. And so the more we can listen to the body and start to hear what it really needs, the more, you know, our bodies are going to work for us rather than against us. And it's not really working against us, it's doing the best that it can. So let's see. I think there's maybe one thing I would really just like to finish on here, and that is that we have on this planet a choice right now. And that is to see water as source energy rather than a resource. Because if you look at the big companies that are monopolizing water in many countries, you know, there's no need for anyone to be thirsty on this planet if our resources are allocated fairly and generously. And when companies try to own water, that's not a good thing. So we need to start, and this is, you know, this is back to the 100th monkey scenario. If we treat water as source energy, as a conduit to the divine, as something that emerges from the absolute depths of the earth in support of our well-being, then we start to treat it in very different ways. And I just invite all of us to think about how we might be able to do that in our own particular local areas and also in the waters of our body, because those waters are life, are truly life. Now, I promised you that I would give you a list of resources. These are people that are very, and I've gone very light on the quantum biology today. It goes a lot deeper. There's a lot more stuff to know. If you're curious about this, if you're curious about anything that I've said, these are some of the people that I think are doing really good work, that are very educational, like on their Instagrams or their podcasts. And if you go searching like water and quantum biology, you'll start to also find some resources. So feel free to take a screenshot of that, just because it'll give you a good starting place. Some of them have written books, some of them have courses. There's all kinds of resources there. Now, a couple of things. I know I haven't talked about how to filter your water. It's a really big topic. And there's a lot of what I'm going to say conflicting points of view, okay? Some of these people that I've given you on this list here are much more knowledgeable about that than I am. We in Australia are starting to source really good systems for water filtration, and I will talk about that on our website, you know, in the future, but we're not quite ready to do that yet. But just know that just the most expensive is not always the best, okay? It's really about how alive your water is. So if you start to look at all filtration systems from, are they making this water more alive or less alive? That's a really good starting place. Okay. All right. Well, that's about all. I just want to say, like, my background is energy clearing, intuitive business, earth alchemy. You know, I work a lot with the earth. I have a very deep connection with the earth. I can talk to the earth. I love the earth. And so, you know, and I haven't talked much about frequency tonight, but know that frequency is a very strong part of everything I've talked about as well. From a stockist point of view, we have set up now a referral link. So if you want to just have a link you can send to people and they can just purchase through a shop, that is on our website. You can then, what will happen is you set it up in our back end, the referral link that's yours, and then we send you a pin once you send those orders through. So you're welcome to do that for any Australian orders only. I can't do the rest of the world, can only do Australia. And, you know, you can, yeah, but you'll have to pay in Australian dollars for that to work. Okay, I think that's all I've got to say for now. I'm happy to take questions. I'll stop the share. So that
Ladies and gentlemen, you can just raise your hand in the portfolio and Madam Lisa will answer your questions. But I think we all commonly agree that this is the most comprehensive class on water for me so far. Now I know if I need to know more about water, we just need to send you a mail or whatever. So please, I'm sure there are a lot of questions. Please feel free to put up your hands. And I'm sure we will be able to learn so much from Lisa. I won't ask her how many years for her to study. She studied.
You
And it's
know,
amazing.
interesting, only really maybe about 2.5 years and not full time. But there's some people, the Instagram people I put back in that slide, really valuable, you know, like, and I've only scratched the very surface. I have not gone very deep at all. Actually, before we go into the questions, there's one more thing I want to add. June the 1st and 2nd in Queensland on Sunshine Coast in Brisbane, we're going to do a training. Nathan's going to come out from head office or from the Philippines. And we're going to do a Prife training days, and I am going to talk about water, and we'll go into it in a little more detail there. So if you want to know about that, just go on our website and look up the events page, and you'll be able to get that info. Sorry, I forgot to put that on the slides. So yeah, all right, yep, go for your questions.
Wow, you know, the ones of the earlier slides you put on, it's after 5 minutes, the water is converted into blood or something like that. I didn't know that. That's the reason why I don't drink enough water myself. The amount of water we take a day is about, say, 12 to 15 glasses of water. Do you have a standard to go by? How many glasses of water should we drink?
No. Okay, a couple of things there. Yeah, the blood thing's mind-blowing, isn't it? When I first heard that, for days I was walking around going, 5 minutes. Like, what a miracle our bodies are, right? Like, it's just incredible. So no, you can't say a particular amount of glasses of water because of the quality of the water varies so greatly, right? And technically, the better quality of the water, the less water you should need to drink. That does not mean you should drink no water, right? We're made of water. We make blood, right? You want blood. You want new blood. But what I would say is that that's something you're going to have to work with your body. If you know basic muscle testing, so like this is how I muscle test. Different people do it different ways, like kinesiology muscle testing. So you hold one really strong, tight, so you can't undo it. So you can have a yes, which is when they click together, right? And you'll find that if you're hydrated, so it's like, show me a yes and it's strong. Show me a no and it'll flip off, right? So you can say to your body, truth, am I hydrated? My body's going yes, right? Truth, am I dehydrated? It's showing a no today at this minute in time. So that's maybe one way you can play with it, all right? But I'll try and teach a little bit more of that stuff. And maybe we'll try and record that. I don't know. I haven't talked to Scott Pang about that yet, whether we're going to record those sessions or not. Yeah, but like, so it's not, let me just say this though. If you're feeling thirsty, then you're dehydrated, okay? In fact, you're well past dehydration. So yeah, all of you drink up, that's it.
Very interesting. Any chance of you coming by to Malaysia, any part of next couple of months? Any chance of you dropping by?
I don't know.
Then we can plan with our marketing department to receive you and come up with some kind of workshop for a day or something. And just out of the box kind of thinking.
Yeah,
because
look,
1 hour with you is never enough,
Thank you.
I'm sorry, because you speak so well and also a bit fast. A lot of us could not catch up, but it's okay.
Sorry.
We can understand. So, but that's it. I would like anyone to ask any questions. Maybe May, Vincula, Don Liao, and anyone. Mr. Anton from Indonesia.
Don't start. I can see your hands up. Go for it.
Yeah, okay, please. Carry on.
Hi, Lisa. Thank you for that very interesting and very informative talk. And I would really love to be able to share that with some of my friends and family. And as well, like Coach Victor Wong has mentioned, it would be a great opportunity for people in Malaysia to be able to listen to you directly. So if you have that opportunity to come by, you are very, very much going to be very much welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll
Yeah,
get
well,
Scott
we
Pam
can
to,
talk
we'll
to
get
Scott
Scott
and see
Pam
what-
to invite you, Lisa.
Yeah, you can talk to him.
And house you for 3 days, 2 nights, then you can be arranged. Scott, are you listening? I think he's listening. But that's good. But plan it 1 or 2 months before Christmas, because Christmas we won't take you away.
Yes, we
How
will.
long have you
We
been
will
in
arrange.
Queensland? How
Okay.
long have you been in
Thank you.
Queensland?
Yes.
All this while in Queensland, Lisa?
Sorry? Yeah,
All the
most of my
while-
life I've lived in Queensland. I've lived a couple of other places, mostly in Queensland. It's beautiful here.
Okay.
It's warm. It's lovely.
Hi, Lisa and Coach. Sorry to interrupt you guys, but we have a question in the chat.
Yeah.
This question is from Miss Yilan, and the question is there any difference between the many types of water that we use now, like oxygen-infused
Oh, yeah.
water, hydrogen water, alkaline water, in terms of how the energy is absorbed or redistributed?
The short answer is yes. Okay.
Long
Now.
answer.
The long answer. That is okay, I'm going to say there's some complexity to that. So let me start with alkaline water. So people think that if they drink alkaline water, it's going to alkalize the body. That is not necessarily correct, okay? Because the body needs to actually have its cellular, okay, let me say this. If the body is functioning correctly at the cellular level, it will be making itself alkaline. Remember when I talked about the blood pH at the beginning? The body should be doing that. So and this is what I was alluding to when I was saying about the water filtering, that, you know, there's lots of different points of view out there. There really is. And, you know, I come from a quantum biology perspective because that's what I believe is the leading edge. Okay. Other people come from other perspectives. Who knows who's right? We don't know yet. So you can, again, you know, you can only look at what's in front of you at this moment. Let's say that. Now, if you look at the oxygen water, the hydrogen water, so oxygen is the O in the H2O, hydrogen is the H in the H2O. So they're doing different things. Okay. But what I will say is that hydrogen is the building block for the body. Like, you know, oxygenation gives you more energy. It will, you know, do certain things, but hydrogen, without enough hydrogen in the body, your body's not going to be functioning all that well. Okay. So the thing is, though, quantum biology, your body should be doing this by itself. But because we live in environments that aren't really that healthy, unfortunately, our bodies struggle to do these things for ourselves. So what we're doing is helping the body to do what it would normally do. And that's ultimately what the wands help the body do as well. They're just helping the body function as it should, right? That's why I always say it's activating self-healing, because that's all it's doing. It's showing the cells how they're supposed to function in its simplest form. So, yeah, so that question, I'll be very happy to go into more detail. Like I'll research it properly for you and go into more detail, you know, in the Brisbane Sunshine Coast events, and potentially in Malaysia or wherever. Yeah, but let's just say you need all of it. But, you know, originally when we came into this earth, when we're first born, we had all of it. And all we're doing is balancing out the things that have become imbalanced. So I hope that helps as a starting point.
Absolutely. We just couldn't have enough. So, yes, May, you have a question? May Avigila, do you have a question? No? Yeah, okay. For those who have any questions, we're going to take a photograph with Lisa now. Please put on your camera if you like, because if you do not put on your camera, then you will not be here today. I mean, you are here today, but not with us today. Let me get it correctly. What do you mean?
Yeah.
So, okay, switch on
Okay.
the camera, please. And I say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I click along. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I go to the next slide in case there is another 2 more pages to go. Camera on, please. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the last page. Okay, again, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you. Okay, I'll send them to Mugi, and Mugi will send to Madam. Okay, we're going to close. Every good thing must come to an end. I saw Janet just came in, and welcome, Janet. It's never too late. Maybe I put you on the hot seat, and I'll let you ask a question. Now, Janet, if you can present what Madam Lisa present in a certain sense of the word, even 50%, we're actually quite cultured. You know why, Lisa? We can duplicate the business. But whatever we say, we quote from your slides. It is your material. And we must say the way it's being said, no more, no less. Then it's okay. Because Anton is from Indonesia, is here. And Lisa, he's one of the very promising board of directors of Indonesia. And he's now putting on the screen. When he put on the camera, I was hoping he'll ask a question. So Baba Anton, any question, please put on your microphone and ask Madam Lisa, the lady queen on water. Nobody knows more about water than her at the moment. I qualify that. I'd like to repeat that. No one knows more about water than Lisa at the moment. Anyone to contest?
Well,
put up your hand and you'll be shot.
That's maybe stretching the point a
That's
little.
interesting.
There's a lot of people that know more about water than me, but I do love water, and I'm always learning more things about water.
But
I just
Prife,
I did notice
okay, Anton, silakan.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Vincent. Thank you, Coach. And how are you, Mrs. Lisa? Okay,
hello,
so
Anton.
very interesting topic. So I still learning, and I hope I can get the recording later, so I can ask later on another Zoom. So for now on, I just learn more first. Okay. Thank you for the today explanation about water. It's very interesting for me. Thank you.
Thank you. So he's going to hold your recording and learning with this group of people. And he definitely need a translator, because without a translator, 90% of the people won't understand your presentation. But anyway, everything's said and done. I'm going to ask maybe one or two last questions. Because what's the time now in Australia and Queensland this time anyway?
7 o'clock. I think there was a time. Some people are coming on now because there was a little bit of a time mix-up.
Yes.
So
yeah,
I think some of the
7
Aussies might have missed out tonight for the live version, unfortunately. But they
If-
can come to the event on the 1st and
Yeah.
2nd of June. That's the thing.
For us, it's 5 p.m. in Kuala Lumpur. It's a time for off work and traffic jam and everything else. So I'm going to put you on the spot, Jeanette. I think as a wonderful, dedicated marketing staff, I hope you can hear me, Jeanette. If there's anything on water, I'm going to pass to you. If there's nothing, you just say pass, okay? Because otherwise, we're going to close in the next 2-3 minutes so that Lisa can have a dinner in Queensland.
Can I noticed that Pearl asked a question. She said, when water is added to beverages, does it lose its properties? I think it depends what you mean by beverages. Okay. So if you're talking about, Coca-Cola is ultimately made out of water. Does it lose its properties? Yes. That's the short answer, right? It's not water anymore at that point. If you're saying, if you added a little bit of apple juice to it, for example, like fresh apple juice, would it lose its properties? No, because it's natural. So I think the thing is, are you adding something natural to it that will enhance its properties, or are you adding a lot of sugar and other things to it that maybe aren't really what your body's after? Because sugar creates inflammation as well. So think of it from that perspective, and I think that will be helpful.
Thank you. There's someone from Bhutan called Jenny Flores asked us, not in relation to water, but I like to pass the floor. I hope I can answer her question. She says, can I still use my iTerra Care device? Even the blue light no longer functions. To me, when the blue light no longer functions, it's good to have the product actually checked out. Whether the energy light is not working or the blue light, I can imagine if the micro oven, if the red light is not working, I don't think the micro oven is working at all. So similarly, if the red light is not working in the micro oven, I think the blue light for the iTerra Care is not working, then you go back to your respective stockist or office and get it checked out. And it's guaranteed for 1 year. Have it done. Am I correct to answer the question, Janet, Mugi, or Scott, please? Mugi, the question is, yes, please take over.
Thank you. If I can add on to that and also bring this meeting to a wonderful close, the blue light in the iTerra Care is basically an indicator. It kind of shows you where you're pointing it, and even if the blue light is not functional, you could still be able to use your iTerra Care perfectly fine. I mean, you do have the option of sending it in for repair or for replacement, but the blue light does not not having the blue light does not mean that your eye tracker is not working, because the blue light just indicates where it is being pointed. And on that note, I would like to end this conversation. Thank you so much, Lisa, for that really like wonderful talk on water. I'll be honest with you, I don't think any of us here, and I think one of the reasons why Coach was very excited about it is that we have not really had such a comprehensive explanation on the properties of water. So the recording of this conversation will be out in about a couple of days. It'll be out on YouTube in our usual channel, and we'll share it. And Lisa, I hope to be able to like schedule you again in Prife 101 in the future, maybe even on different topics as well, anything that you're interested in. I really enjoyed and appreciate your flow of conversation. I like how you brought everything out in a very calm and collected manner, yet every single thing that you said was just perfect. So thank you, Lisa, for sharing the last
Pleasure.
hour with us.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Coach Bibi Wong, for hosting. Thank you to all of you for being a part of this session. Also, I just wanted to point out that Jeanette has been in the meeting since the meeting started. She may have just turned on her camera, but she was here throughout. So with that, I would like to say goodbye, and we'll see all of you again next week. Bye, everyone. And
Thanks,
again,
Bye.
everyone.
Thanks, Lisa.
Bye-bye.
Enjoy
Thank
your dinner.
you.
Bye-bye. Take care, everybody.
Thank you,
Bye.
Lisa.
Coming.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Lisa.
Bye-bye. So nice of you to drop by.
bye, Pearl.
Bye.
Thank you.